So we're going to be making this easy scarf. I made it in one evening, and it's just a single row well, let's just say second row repeat. So you do a chain, you do a half double crochet row, and then you half double crochet in back loops only, and you get this ridge, which gives it an airy feel, which is good with this chunky weight yarn because then it's not too heavy, but it feels so warm. I wore it today in 30-degree weather and felt good. It's acrylic, so it's not scratchy, but keeps you warm. Starting chain I put into the back bumps, and so you can see this nice border on that side, and you can still see the nice border here when you finish up. So there's no finishing needed. The ends look fine as well. Just that nice cozy, handmade feel, but it's a very clean scarf. I made mine long, so I can show you 92 inches. And I made that so I would have the option of wrapping it once around my neck or twice around my neck. And I think that was a good thing. I thought it would be too narrow, but wrapping it twice is good. If you get it shorter, then you can make it wider. So I used 2 skeins of the Canyon Colors acrylic yarn in Color Canyon. And I had only ordered 2 skeins and I used all of it. This is all I have left. All right, so today we are going to make a scarf. It is 30 degrees and I need to get this done ASAP. So I'm using this Canyon Colors. I got it from Premier Yarn. It is a bulky weight yarn, number 5 weight, and they recommend an 8mm hook. So that's what I have here. And let's get started. So today we're going to work on half double crochet. And if you need to review that, you can go to previous videos. But we're going to get right into the pattern. This seems to be you can pull it easily from that middle part, and then it looks like it's going to unravel from the outside. I chose these nice autumnal colors, kind of goes with the season. And we're going to go ahead and do our slip knot. And chain out the length of the scarf you want. So usually I find that your height, or my height, about 5.5 inches, or that's funny, 5.5 feet is a good scarf length. So my arm span. And so I'm just going to chain out about 200, measure it around my neck, and then we'll meet back up after chaining. So just chain out 200. Forming a nice little colorway. I'm actually not even counting. I'm just going to keep going until it looks a good length. It doesn't matter if you have even or odd numbers or anything like that, so just keep going. So I ended up chaining out 200, and that's approximately, I think, 80 inches, which I just measured out some scarf that fit the way I want it to fit, and then added 10 stitches to that because I want the option to wrap it twice if I need to. I live in a place where it's cold 5 days out of the year, but those 5 days I need to make myself warm. Okay, so now we're going to start the half double crochet. So we're just going to go into, I think we can go ahead and go into this second loop from the hook. You have the option of, with single crochet, you would go into the second, half double the third, and double the fourth. So I'm just going to see how it looks in the second, and because I don't want, this is not something we're putting a border on that, can look clunky. Another thing I do want a nice edge, so I think I'm gonna work into the back bump of the starting chain. So starting in this back bump. And then we'll do half double crochet, half double crochet. I'm keeping it loose. Again, this is bulky weight yarn, and when you stitch that too tightly, you can start, creating too tight or stiff of a fabric. So I like to keep it a little loose. And I think that first stitch was fine. This looks pretty straight here. So I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to continue and do half double crochet through every chain space, again working in this back bump. So again, in your chain you have the bottom loop, the top loop, and the back bumps. So I'm working into the back bumps. And so 200 more of these and I'll meet back here. Okay, I'm at the last few towards the end. So I thought we'd just work those together. The first row. And so again, my back bumps, and we're just going to work in there, half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet. And then I'm just going to chain one, because especially with bulky yarn, I don't want it to stick out too much at the other end. And then this is the long scarf. I'm actually wearing it, so I'm really just, again, turn it like a book. And then we're going to half double crochet in the back loop only. So what that provides, it provides more airiness. If you work into both loops, it can get a little dense, especially with bulky yarn. And again, like we've discussed in earlier videos, it gives a texture when you work into one loop only. So we're going to do back loop only. So let me show you which one I'm working in. Again, you're going to go into that second loop from the hook and go into this is your chain 1, which you don't work into. You work into the first stitch. So back loop only. And you do that with every single one down the line. And repeat 200 more times, but look how quickly it goes. It's also easy to just, if you've kept your stitches loose, to work this up quickly, and bulky yarn in general works up quickly. So I'm just going to continue on this row, and once again we'll just meet up at the end. You can start seeing this little ridge develop because you're working in the back loop and pushing the front loop forwards. And so as we turn and alternate that, you'll see that bump alternating, and it gives it nice texture and makes this kind of yarn stick out more because it gives it that, you know, two-dimensional look to the stitches. All right, I'll see you towards the end of this row. All right, I'm at my last few stitches of the second row. You'll notice I'm holding my yarn hook all the way back here, and that's to ensure these stitches stay loose. And you just hold it to give you whatever tension on a stitch you want. So that's that last stitch, and did the back loop. And then we're gonna chain 1 and turn it again. And you can decide if you think, show you, if this one, I think it might look cleaner if you do it through both on the ends. Find the other end. So this is the starting end. And then this is the finishing end. So if you just want to do both loops to keep it even, or you can just do the back loop only. And that'll keep it consistent with the starting loop. Because you can see you have this little gap there, but you also have that here. So however you feel works best for you. I think just for consistency's sake, yeah, I think I'm just gonna do the back loop, chain 1, and turn. And then again, you're gonna do back loop only. All down the row. So by now you should have your little rhythm and continue on for as wide as you want your scarf, or until you run out of yarn. I'm going to do until I run out of yarn. I only bought 2 skeins, so I'll have 218 yards to work with, 200 grams. I think that's good enough for a scarf. Scarf is around 200, 250, or even 300 grams, just depending on how bulky it is. But really, I just bought 2 skeins, and my goal was to use it all up. So that's what I'm going to do. And you can see that color start to pool here, which is interesting. We're ending on the same color each time. So I guess we'll just see what that looks like. All right, I am going to work a few more rows and then kind of measure it. I think a few more rows will use up this first skein of mine, and then we'll meet back up. All right, so I have measured this out. I have about 84 inches here. I just folded it in half and measured it. And it's a bit long, so you could make it shorter. So I did about 200 in my starting chain. So if you do about 170, you can add an additional row or two. So here you can see these are how many rows I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically the peaks and the troughs. So 7. I'm on row 7. And I'm going to finish this with you because this is the closest chicken race I've been on. So I have this many stitches to go and this much yarn left of all the yarn in this colorway. So let's see, I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 stitches left, and I have this yarn. I'm so nervous, I'm sweating. I feel like these colors look way better in person. It's just been a crazy, cloudy, rainy few days, and with the cold weather, it's hard to capture that good, you know, daytime sun to get this filmed under. But I still like the look of how moody this is, even at night. It looks promising right here. It was disappearing very quickly for a second, and I was getting nervous because you don't realize how one stitch eats up so much yarn, and then suddenly you have none. Like, how much in just a few stitches. Never know. Oof, that was perfect. So I'm done. I do wish I had another row. I think if I steam it, it'll settle out a little bit, and I think this is a pretty good width for a scarf. But again, if I were to do it over, I would probably do chain out 170. So those 30 extra over 7 rows, those 30 extra stitches over 7 rows would give you another row, which I think would be just enough to make it the perfect thickness. So consider doing that. I hope you watched all the way through to get that little tidbit. So here we're at the end, so I'm just gonna bring this yarn through to tie it off. And I would be crazy enough to start this all over, but it is cold and I just want to really wear this tomorrow actually. So I did this in one night. This was super simple, worked up really quickly, and that was in addition to doing like everything else I kind of wanted to get done for the night. So there, and I don't mind tying off my projects with knots. I don't really see them, or I mean mind, because I mean it's handmade. I'm not looking for something to look like it was made by a machine, and it's really not a big deal if someone sees the knot. It's a bigger deal when you buy things in the store and you see all these frays and things sticking out. So don't worry about striving for perfection in any of this. And then I'm going to steam it. I'm not going to completely wet block just because I am going to wear it tomorrow, so I'm just going to steam it, let it hang to dry overnight, and then I think it'll look nice and stretched out like this. One benefit of having it longer is that you can wrap it around twice if you want to, and stay extra warm. Wrap it around, you know, your neck, your face, or your head, depending how cold it gets. So that's why I made it so long. I think this will work perfectly for the rest of this week. All right, I'll see you in the next project. Thank you for watching.